Gentlemen, we're here today to, well, it's Sunday, so it's my day. I get to do whatever I want today. And we're sitting here. I got this in the mail late this last week. I spent 4.5, almost 5 months looking for exactly this meter panel. It was interesting to me. I went onto some Facebook groups, and the Facebook group said, "Oh man, you like hunting for gold? That's unobtainium. You'll never find that." And then I had another guy that really, that makes sense, because the guys that are into pro audio sound, studio sound, professional sound guys, they're very anal, very specific about things. And in one of my posts where I was mentioning that I wanted to buy one of these, I called this a metering bridge. And he lost his bacon saying it was the metering board. I'm like, okay, but you know exactly what part I'm looking for? He's like, yes. What this does is allows us to see the actual signal levels on each channel. Now this console here, because it's the Roland Vm-c70C, the VMC, not the 7200, but the Vm-c7200, allows us to go up to 94 channels by stacking the digital mixers, the actual patch base, I guess would be the best way to put it. But all the work is actually done in the patch bay. It's not done here in the console. So it allows the console to be much smaller. And we can adjust 24 channels at a time. There's a lot of up advantages to this style of mixing. Now this was one of the very first digital mixing consoles to ever be produced. Like I said, I worked with this when I was a child, and I've always wanted to have one of my own, and I can't wait to use it for everything I do here. I'm going to use this for my mixing for the videos. I'm going to use this for, because it's so flexible, I can set it up so that I can do all my mixing for my on-air stuff, the line level recording stuff, and all the YouTube videoing things. This is way overkill. Like, it's going to replace this 4-channel mixer that's here. I got another 4-channel mixer over there. I got a 12-channel mixer over there, and I'm going to consolidate all that down to this. So it's going to give me more space. But then there were some really neat effects that this thing could do to my audio that I can't wait to employ on the air. I'm telling you, it's going to be neat. This is part of the last piece of the puzzle. This metering bridge was really hard to find. The metering bridge is actually only this long. These are add-on pieces down here and down here. I found one that didn't have the end caps. I thought, well, I'll have to make some custom brackets for it. But then this nice gentleman by the name of Matt popped up and said, yeah, I got one, but you know, I want $1 jillion for it. I said, oh, I don't know if I want to do $1 jillion for this rare piece of equipment. When I bought the console, it came with everything except for this metering bridge. I didn't realize how long it was going to take me to find this. This is a good solid 4.5 months, almost 5 months worth of looking for this. Well, then I ended up seeing one of these listed on Reverb, which is a kind of like eBay for, you know, studio guys. And come to find out, it was my buddy Matt, the guy that I initially met up on Facebook with, and he had it for sale at a, well, we'll just say a little bit different price, and I snagged it up. I was like, you know what, all these months I'm looking, it's a few $100 more than what I wanted to spend, but to me it was worth it because it was going to bring it to the conclusion of things. The only other thing, just simply because it's cool, that I want to add to this unit is the Roland Vm-c7200, which is the surround sound sub-channel mixer unit that plugs into the MIDI control on here on the back. And it sits right here on the console, and it's held in place by magnets. Very, very, very hard to find. Very, very, very hard to find that last piece. It's not necessary, where to me I felt like this was necessary. even though you can see the exact same signal representation here, it doesn't give you a time code for recording, which is kind of important if you're doing, you know, more along the lines of studio mixing. But when I'm down messing around in the sub menu, I want to be able to see what my actual line level signal spikes look like going in and going out. So the downside, and why we're here today, is this thing has no brackets. Let's turn this on and check this out. No burn up LED segments. I was even willing to take one of these that they were broke because, well, it's me. I can fix almost anything, and I'm lucky enough that I live in a world where I could probably source out the exact color and code and spec and voltage draw and everything for each one of these LED segments and probably rebuild this, to be honest with you. But the fact that I don't have to do any of that really, really, really makes me happy. So all I've got to do is quick fab up some brackets. Now, the brackets that initially went with this were made of basically tinfoil, very thin, made of steel. We're going to use aluminum. They attach to these two top screws and these two bottom screws. These screws here support on the inside of the Roland, so they actually had an opened up hole. They fit right in this area. They are even with the wood armrests, because if you notice, you've got just enough room. The round portion that makes contact with the top of the metering board, it's a bridge to me, metering bridge. I'm going to call it a metering bridge because spite that guy, just cause. F you, you anal son of a gun. They screw right in here. You guys might recognize this, some of you radio guys that are watching me do this. This is a thumb screw out of a Cobra 29. Same pitch, same thread, same everything. The Roland thumb screws are just a little bit different. They had a little bit more of aggressive finger tang to them, but that's okay. It's not necessary for what we're doing. So this would sit, we're looking at the back side of things, this would sit back and just a hair above the console interface screen. So I'm going to have to get out a tape measure, and I'm going to have to use some dial calipers and some drill bits, and I'm going to have to mark up some stuff and figure out how to bend some things at the right angles, and I'm going to have to do a little bit of measuring, but it's okay. This is totally something that's within my wheelhouse. Took this down yesterday. A buddy of mine owns a paint shop here in town. It's actually a paint company where they produce paint for basically everything. And he's got this little scan gun that goes down here, and it scans the color, the pigment reflectivity of the paint, and put it in his computer and says, oh yeah, I can totally color match that for you. So all these little nicks and dings and stuff, we're going to be able to come back and touch all that up. Either that or I'll take the whole body apart, media blast the whole thing, and then repaint it and put it back together. Probably just going to touch it up, to be honest with you. A lot less work. A lot less work. I'm just really super stoked that all the segments in this thing work, right? Finding the end cap version of this was tough. I mean, this, not to overuse the term unicorn rare, but this piece here is unicorn rare. These end caps are, the only thing that these end caps were good for was mounting to this particular console. They made this bridge to fit 4 or 5 other different units. They didn't make very many of these. They didn't make them for very long. This wasn't a very hot seller, but it was very groundbreaking in its time. They made a smaller, based off the same architecture, different kind of mixing console used for a different form of audio mixing, and they used the same bridge setup. But yeah. So with this little piece of stock of aluminum, we're gonna make some brackets. So let's get some height and let's start laying out a plan here, a little bit of a blueprint. So here's the basis of our brackets. Yes, I made a penis, basically. I'll fold this over, I'll square up this edge, of course, square up this edge of course. We'll fold this one, let's say that way. We'll fold this one this way. But first we got to determine where our screw holes need to be and get those punched and drilled. This will take just a couple minutes. We already figured out where exactly center is on this. I had Sharpie marks to give me basic references, but as you can tell, we were a little off after the sanding. So I adjusted our punch mark for that. We'll drill these. I'm not too sure if I'm going to dimple them yet. Probably not. Dimple them as in put like a dimple here, here, and here, and here. So we limit the number of contact surface areas to the meter side so we can make it so the meter doesn't want to twist. Our other way to do it is the thumb screws come with these little fiber discs, and we can put a fiber disc between the bracket and the meter bridge. Asshole. Anyhow, yeah, this will be quick. This is going to go quick. We'll surface before we'll drill. I'm going to scribe our bend mark, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to surface prep these with the prep tool and get them shiny and get them down to bare metal. We'll go ahead and we'll bend them using brass shims in the vise. We'll bend them over real quick. I don't have a brake. I should at this point, but I don't. And we'll bend these over. We'll get them roughly lined up. I gotta actually square this one down. I'm gonna square this one down a little bit to make clearance for the edge of the switch and to make them look even. Then we'll go ahead and we'll round over this edge, put a nice little bevel on this and a bevel on this. That way nobody gets scratched. We don't want anybody to hurt their fingies. Right? No finger hurties. And then we'll paint them. We'll put down a layer of really good epoxy base primer, and then we'll put down a semi-gloss black top coat. So let me do some measuring with the calipers, figure out where we need to punch some things, scribe some stuff, and we'll move forward here. There we go. Epoxy primered and epoxy painted, so this paint will never come off. I didn't do semi-gloss, I did a gloss hammer coat. And let's see how well we did. Took a few minutes and I cleaned the front of the meter bridge. And I shortened the brackets. I originally made them 8 inches, but I didn't like how close it was sitting to the, or how far away it was sitting from the display. I remember it being much closer. That looks good. Looks like whoever built it cared. I even took and I beveled the back of the brackets to match the wood. So if I ever had to reach around here for any reason, my hands wouldn't be hitting it, just like the stock stuff. All right, let's plug it in and let's try it out. Well, so this is what it's supposed to look like. Of course, I got everything in demo mode because I'm not going to go and hook up 24 different lines of signal to this, and just want to show you that all the segments are working. All the status segments are the important thing. So I currently got peak hold on, which I should probably turn off. That's the reason that you're seeing the top light and then it holds and then it fades away. But the timestamp's working, the clock's working, the track's working, the dim display, the bright display, all the status lights, all the lights and all the channels is working. It makes me very happy. One step closer. I got 2 more effects boards that are coming for this thing. And I got the Tascam interface that's coming for this, even though I'm not planning on using the Tascam recording units because they're only 8-bit. And, you know, we're in a 70 million bit universe, right? So I'm basically going to dump the audio out of this thing into whatever computer I'm needing to record from. I can hook up to 6 different computers for recording up to this, depending on how I set up the flex bus and the submenus and whatnot. So it's cool. I consider this a win. I really do. One step closer to having what I wanted, or having back what I had when I was a kid. The big shout out to Matt. Thank you for selling me your meter board. Not quite done with this yet. I'll have paint in a couple days and I can touch up the front edge of this bar. But all in all, I mean, yeah, I'm into this thing for a fortune now, but this unit cost almost as much as this unit and this unit combined. Believe it or not. Worth it to me. It's just worth it to me. Gentlemen, thanks for tuning in and watching. I know that most of you guys that follow my YouTube channel don't find this thing very interesting. To me, I find it amazing. And I'm grateful that I get to play with it. So on that note, I say thanks, gentlemen. I appreciate every single one of you. I'm the biggest mud duck in Idaho. They call me BBI. If there's anything I can ever do to help you, any questions, anything I can answer for you, don't hesitate to hit me up. There's my number. On that note, I'm out, gentlemen. I appreciate every single one of you. I'll see you. Click, click.